30,000 for the power bulls. 30,000 once, 30,000 twice, and 30,000 thrice. Manoj Gowda is sold for the bulls. The next player is Mohit SG. Mohit SG. Mohit SG is a coach.
Last
So Mohit SG base price is 500. Mohit SG.
Who is this bowler, batsman, all-rounder?
So 500 for the goats. 500 once. 500,000 for the bulls. 1,000 for the bulls. Once. 1,000 twice. 1,500 for the white lions. 2,000 for the bulls. 2,000 for the bulls once. 2,000 once. 2,003. 500 for the lions. 2,500 for the lions once. 2,500 twice. And Mohit SG is sold to white lions. The next player is Bhuvan Gowda BC. He's a wicket keeper and his base price is 1,000. Bhuvan Gowda BC. He's a wicket keeper and his base price is 1,000. 1,000 Bhuvan Gowda BC. Bhuvan Gowda BC. Thousand once. 1,000 Bhuvan Gowda and 1,000 for the bulls. The power bulls once. 1,000 twice. And Bhuvan Gowda BC is sold for power bulls. Ayush YC. Ayush YC is a bowler and his base price is 1,000. The goats 1,000. Ayush YC is a bowler and the goats have raised their bars. 1,500 for the lions. 2,000 for the goats. 2,500. 2,000 for the goats. 2,000 once. 2,500 for the white lions. 3,000 for the Marshall Kings and 4,000 for the goats. 4,000 once. 5,000 for Marshall Kings and 6,000 for the bulls. 7,000 for the goats. 8,000 for the bulls. 8,000 once. 8,000 twice. Ayush YC. For bulls. 9,000 for the lions and 10,000 for the goats. 10,000 once. 10,000 twice. 12,000 for the lions. Okay. 12,000. 12,000. 14,000 for the goats. 14,000 once. 14,000 twice. 16,000 for the lambs and 18,000 for the bulls. 18,000 once. 18,000 twice. 20,000 for the lambs. 20,000 once. 20,000 twice. And Ayush YC. Okay. The current bidding of Ayush YC is 20,000, and the team who are bidding for him are the White Lions. The current price is 20,000 points. 20,000. I guess nobody have objection. The goats. So I think Ayush YC. The Ayush YC is sold to the White Lions. The next player is Pujant TS. Pujant TS is an all-rounder, and his base price is 2,000, and the goats 2,000, 2,500 for the Marshall Kings, 3,000 for the goats, 4,000 for Marshall Kings, 5,000 for the goats. Pujant TS all-rounder, 5,000 once, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 for the goats, 9,000 for the bulls, 9,000 once, 10,000 for Marshall Kings, 12,000 for the goats, 14,000 for the bulls, 14,000 once, 14,000 twice, 16,000 for the lambs, 16,000 for the lambs once, 18,000 for the bulls, 20,000 for the goats, 22 for the bulls, 22 for the bulls once, 22 twice, 24 for the lambs, 24 for the lambs once, Pujant TS is an all-rounder. 24,000 for the bulls. 24 for the bulls. Once. 24 twice. 24 twice and 24 thrice. The Pujant TS is sold to Power Bulls. Is an all-rounder. The next player is Rajat Hegde. Rajat Hegde. Rajat Hegde is a batsman, and his base price is 2,000 and 2,500 for the Marshall Kings. 3,000 for the goats. 3,000 for the goats. 4,000 for the Marshall Kings. 5,000 the goats. 5,000 once, 6,000 for the Marshall Kings, 7,000 the goats, 8,000 Marshall Kings, 9,000 the goats, 10,000 Marshall Kings, 10,000, 12,000 Power Bulls, 12,000, 14,000 for the Marshall Kings, 16,000 for the Bulls, 18,000 for the Marshall Kings, 20,000 for the Bulls. 20,000 for the Bulls. Once. 22,000 for the Goats. 22,000 for the Goats. Once. 22 twice. 24 for the White Lions. 24 for the White Lions. 26 for the Goats. 26 for the Goats once. 26 twice. Okay, 28 for the White Lions. 28. Okay. $28 for the White Lions. 28 once. 28 twice. And Rajat Hegde is sold to the White Lions for 28,000 points. Next player is Nandan DM. Nandan DM is an all-rounder and his base price is 2,000. 2,500 for the Goats. 2,500 for the Goats. 3,000 for the Bulls. 4,000 for the Goats. 5,000 for the Bulls. 5,000 for the Bulls. 6,000 for the Goats. 7,000 for the Bulls. 8,000 for the Goats. 9,000 for the Bulls. 9,000 once for the Bulls. 10,000 and 12,000 for the Bulls. 14,000 for the Goats. 16,000 for the Bulls. 18,000 for the Goats. 20,000 for the Bulls. 22 for the Goats. 24 for the Bulls. 26 and 28 for the Marshall Kings. 30 for the Bulls. 30 for the Bulls, 30,000 points. 32 for the Marshall Kings. 34 in the Bulls. 34, 36 for the Marshall Kings. 38 for the Bulls. 38 once. 38 twice. And Nandan DM is sold for the Power Bulls 38,000 points. The next player is Mayuk V. Mayuk V is a bowler and his base price is 3,000. Mayuk V. Mayuk V. Okay, 3,000 for the 4,000 for the Goats. 4,000 for the Goats. 5,000 for the Marshall Kings. 6,000 for the Goats. 7,000 for the Marshall Kings. 8,000 for the Goats. 9,000 Marshall Kings. 10,000 Goats. 12,000 Marshall Kings. 14,000 the Goats. 14,000 for the Goats once. 14,000 twice. 16,000 for the White Lions. 16,000. 18,000 for the Goats. 18,000 once. 18,000 twice. And Mayuk is okay. 20,000 for White Lions. 20,000 for the White Lions once. 20,000 twice. And Mayuk V is sold for the White Lions for 20,000 points. So next player is Gruhit R. Gruhit. Gruhit R is a bowler and his base price is 500. Gruhit R. is a bowler, and 500 for the Marshall Kings. 500 once, 500 twice, 500 thrice. Rohitar is sold for the Marshall Kings. The next player is Ranjit Gowda C. Ranjit Gowda C is a bowler and his base price is 500. Ranjit Gowda C. The goats have raised their bars for 500 for Ranjit Gowda C. 500 once, 500 twice, and Ranjit Gowda C is sold for the goats for 500 once. The next player is Lucky V. He is a batsman and his base price is 1000. Lucky V. Lucky V. His base price is 1000. 1000 for the goats. 1000 once. 1000 twice. 1500 for the white lines. 2000 for the goats. 2000 for the goats once. 2000 twice. 2500 for the white lines. 3000 for the goats. 3000 for the goats once. 3000 twice. And Lucky V is sold to the goats. The next player is Kishan Kumar Naikar. He's a bowler and his base price is 1000. Kishan Kumar Naik R. Okay. His base price is 1000 and the bid is again the Marshall and the 1500 for the goats. 2000 for the Marshall Kings. 2500 for the goats. 3000 for the Marshall Kings. 4000 for the goats. 5000 for Marshall Kings. 6000 for the goats. 7000 for the Marshall Kings. 8000 for the goats. 9000 for the Marshall Kings. 10,000 for the goats. 12,000 for the Marshall Kings. 12,000 for the Marshall Kings once. 12,000 twice. 14,000 for the white lines. 14,000 for the white lines. 14,000 once. 16 for the Marshall Kings. 16,000 once. 16,000 twice. And 18,000 for the white lines. 18,000 for the white lines once. 18,000 twice. 18,000 twice, okay. Currently Kishan Kumar Naikar, current bidding is of 18,000. He's a bowler. And current 20,000 for the Marshall Kings. 20,000 for the Marshall Kings once. 20,000 twice. 20,000 thrice, and Kishan Kumar Naikar is sold for the Marshall Kings at 20,000. Next player is Pritham. The next player is Pritham. Coach. ಇನ್ಶಿಯಲ್
ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ
ಏನು
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಪ್ರೀತಮ್ ಇದೆ ತಾನೆ ಪ್ರೀತಮ್ ಪಾಟೇಲ್ ಓಕೆ
ಪ್ರೀತಮ್ ಪಟೇಲ್
Okay, Pritham Patel. So Pritham Patel SM is an all-rounder and his base price is 1000. 1000 for the goats, 1500 for the Marshall Kings. 1500 once. 2000 for the goats. 2500 for the bulls and 3000 for the Marshall Kings. 3000 for the Marshall Kings, 4000 for the goats. 4000 for the goats once. 5000 for the bulls. 5000 for the bulls. Once. 6000 for white lions. 6000 for the white lions. 6000 once. 6000 twice. And Pritham is sold for the white lions for 6000 points. The next player is Anvesh S. Araballi. He's a bowler. Anvesh S. Araballi. He's a bowler. And his base price is 500. Anvesh, a bowler. 500 for the goats. 500 for the goats. Once. 500 twice. And Anvesh Saraballi sold to the goats for 500 points. Next player is Nirmit S. Nirmit S is an all-rounder and his base price is 2000. 2000 for the Marshall Kings, 2500 for the goats, 3000 for the Marshall Kings, 4000 for the goats, 5000 for the bulls and 6000 for the Marshalls, 7000 for the goats, 8000 for the Marshalls, 8000 and 9000 for the goats, 10,000 for the Marshall Kings, 12,000 for the goats, 14,000 for the Marshall Kings, 14,000 once. Okay. Nirmites currently bidders Marshall Kings for 14,000 points. Nirmites. No, discuss again. Currently bidders are the Marshall Kings. Okay. 14,000 once. 14,000 twice. 16,000 for the white lions. 18,000 for the Marshall Kings. 18,000 for the Marshall Kings 1. 18,000 twice. And 18,000 thrice. Nirmit is sold for the Marshall Kings. Next player is Chetan Suryakshavi. He's a bowler and his base price is 500. Chetan, okay, 500 for the goats. 500 for the goats once. 1000 for the bulls. 1000 for the bulls once. 1000 for the bulls twice. And 1500 for the goats. 2000 for the bulls. 2500 for the goats. 2500 once. 2500. 3000 for the bulls. 3000 for the bulls. 3000 once. 3000 twice. And Chetan Suryaksha V sold for the Power Bulls for 3,000 points. Congratulations to them. So we'll be back. Short break. So take a break. Take a short break. We'll be back right now.
Thank you. ಏ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರೇ ಬರ್ರೋ ಇದಿದೆ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 9 ಜನ ಅವರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿಸಿ 3 4 8 6 7 8 ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್
ಕೋಚ್ 11 to go not 10 to go 10 to go
ಅವನು ಅದೇ ಬಿಡಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೀಮು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೀಮ್ ತೋರ್ಸ್ರು ಟೀಮ್ ತೋರ್ಸು ಏಳು ಜನ ಒಂದು 3
ಯಾರು
ಸೆಟಲ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಈಗ ಮಾಡಿ
ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ SPL SandHut ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯರ್ ಲೀಗ್ ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ಭಾಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಯ್ತು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಶೋ ಈಸ್ ಬ್ರಾಟ್ ಟು ಯು ಬೈ ಪ್ರಿಯಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಲಕ್ಸುರಿ ಇನ್ನರ್ವೇಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಕ್ಸುರಿ ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಕೆಲವೇ ಕ್ಷಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದಿನ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಶುರುವಾಗಲಿದೆ ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವೇ ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಟ್ಕೊತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಸೊ the next player is Vamshit K. Gowda. Vamshit K. Gowda is an all-rounder and his base value is 2000 and 2000 for the goats. 2000 for the goats, 2500 for the white lands, 3000 for the goats, 4000 for the marshal kings, 5000 for the goats, 5,000 for 6,000 for marshal kings, 7,000 for the goats, 7,000 for the goats once, 7,000 twice, 8,000 for the white lands, 9,000 for the goats, 9,000 for the goats once, 9,000 and 10,000 for the marshal kings, 12,000 for the goats, 12,000 once, 12,000 twice, so 14,000 for the white lands, 16,000 for the goats, 16,000 for the goats once, 16,000 twice, 18,000 for the white lands, 20,000 for the goats, 20,000 once, 20,000 twice, 22,000 for the white lands and 24,000 for the goats, 24 for the goats once, 24 twice, 26 for the white lands, 28 for the goats, 28 for the goats once, 28 twice, 30 for the lands, 30 for the lands once, 30,000 twice, 30,000 twice, and Vamshit K. Goda is sold to the Whitelands for 30,000 points. Next player is Shashank G. He's a bowler and his base price is 500. Shashank G. Shashank G is a bowler and his base price is 500. 500 for the Power Bulls. 500 for the Power Bulls once. 500 for the Bulls twice. And 500 for the Bulls twice, and Shashank G is sold for the Power Bulls. The next player is Bairesh. Is an all-rounder and his base value is 1000. Bairesh, 1000 for the goats. 1000 for the goats. 1000 once. 1500 for the Marshall Kings. 2000 for the goats. 2000 once. 2000 once. 2000. 2500 for the Whitelands. 3000 for the goats. 3000 for the goats once. 3000 twice. 4000 for the Whitelands. 5000 for the goats. 5000 once. 5000 twice. And 5000 thrice. Bairesh is sold to the goats for 5000 points. The next player is Yashas L. He's a bowler and his base price is 500. Yashas L is a bowler and his base price is 500. 500 for the goats. 500 for the goats. 1000 for Marshall Kings. 1000 for the Marshall Kings once. 1500 for the goats. 1500 once. 1500 twice. 1500, and Yashas is sold to the goats. The next player is Dheeraj J. Is an all-rounder and his base price is 1000. Dheeraj for the goats for 1000. 1500 for Marshall Kings. 1500 once. 2000 for the Whitelands. 2000 for Whitelands once. 2500 for Marshall King and 3000 for the goats. 4000 for Marshall Kings. 5000 for the goats. 5000, 6000 for Marshall Kings. 7000 for the goats. 8000 for Marshall Kings. 9000 for the goats. 9000 once. 9000 twice. And Dheeraj is sold for the goats. Next player is Yashwant MK. Yashwant MK is an all-rounder. Yashwant MK is an all-rounder and his base price is 1000 and it is bidden for the goats. 1000. 1000 for the goats once. 1500 for Whitelands. 2000 for the goats. 2000 for the goats. 2000 once. 2500 for Whitelands. 3000 for the goats. 3000 for the goats. 3000 once. 4000 for Whitelands. 5000 for the goats. 6000 for the Whitelands. 7,000 for the goats, 8,000 for the white lions, 9,000 for the goats, 9,000 for the goats once, 9,000 for the goats twice, and 9,000 points for the goats. Yashwant MK sold to the goats. The next player is Arya Kumar Thakur. Is an all-rounder and his base price is 1,000. Arya Kumar Thakur. Arya Kumar Thakur. His base price is 1,000 and he's an all-rounder. Arya Kumar Thakur for the White Lions. 1,000 once. 1,000 twice. 1,000 thrice. Arya Kumar Thakur is sold to the White Lions. The next player is Dhruva K. Dhruva K is an all-rounder and his base price is 1,000. Dhruva K, an all-rounder, his base price is 1,000. Dhruva K, 1,000. Dhruva K, all-rounder, his base value is at 1,000. Once, twice, and thrice. Dhruva K is unsold. The next player is Atharva Hiremat. Atharva Hiremat is a batsman and his base price is at 2,000. 2,000 for Marshall Kings. 2,000 once. 2,000 twice. 2,500 for the White Lions. 3,000 for the Marshall Kings. 3,000 once. 3,000 twice. 3,000 thrice, and Atharva Hiremat is sold to the Marshall Kings. The next player is again Dhruva K. He is an all-rounder and is Dhruva K. Dhruva K. He is an all-rounder and his base value is at 1,000. Dhruva K once. Dhruva K twice. Dhruva is unsold. The next player is Jnanesh Yu. He is an all-rounder and his base value is at 2,000. Jnanesh, Marshall Kings. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Let's move on with the options. The next player is C.S. Dikshit Gowda. He's a bowler and his base value is at 500. C.S. Dikshit Gowda is a bowler. Dikshit Gowda once. Dikshit Gowda twice. Dikshit Gowda thrice. Dikshit is unsold. So the last player is Vishrut. He's not a last player. We'll be continuing with the options. The player is Vishrut, and Vishrut is an all-rounder and his base value is for 500. 500 for the goats. 500 for the Marshall Kings. $500 once. 500 twice. And 500 tries Vishwat is sold for the Marshall Kings. I request all the audience to wait as the auction will be going on. Okay, please take a short break until we come back.
अच्छा
ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಜನಪ್ರಿಯ ಕೂತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರಲ್ಲ.
Hello, check, check.
ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನ್
ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ.
Okay guys, let's begin. ಹನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಗಾಯ್ಸ್. ಹಾ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೂ ನೋಡ ಬೆಕ್ಕು ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾಯಿ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ಗೇಸ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಬಿದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ.
ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ರು ನಾಳೆ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇವತ್ತೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇವತ್ತೇ ಏನು ನಾಳೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಕೋಚ್ ಬಂದ ನಮ್ದೇ ಆಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಿದ್ದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಅವ್ರು ಬೇರೆ ಫೋನ್ ಹಚ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಎಂತಕ್ ಬೈತೀರಾ?
ಅವ್ನು ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅವ್ನು ಮೋಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳ ಸರ್.
ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರ ಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ.
ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪೇನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ?
ಅವನೇನು ಅಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮಿಬ್ಬರು
ಈಗ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಇದ್ರು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗ್ತವೆ ಲೆಕ್ಕ. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೋತಾರೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು.
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ ನನಗೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅವ್ನ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಹೋದ್ರು ಏನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದೇ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅವನು ಇವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಇಬ್ರು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬಂದ. ಅವನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಣ ಆಯ್ತು ವಿಂಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇವ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೈದ್ರು.
ಹೇಳಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಆಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ.
ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸರ್.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್.
ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಆಡಿ
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಮೋಸ
ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ 11 ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? 11 ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ ತಗೋಬಹುದು ಅವರು. ಈಗ ಯಾರು 10th ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾರು 10 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್
ಏ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ 10 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗೋವರೆಗೂ 10
ಅದೇ 10 ಜನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಅವ್ನು ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ
Okay ನಾ?
ಮಾಡಿ ಎತ್ತದ ಅವನು ಯಾರು ಎತ್ತಾನೆ ಅದು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು.
ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಓಕೆ ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ
So welcome back to the auctions of SPL, SandHut Premier League, sponsored by Priya and Primax Luxurious Innerwear, celebrating style, comfort and luxury. So let's come back to the auctions. The next player is Varun Bhavimani. The base price of Varun Bhavimani is 500. Varun Bhavimani. The base price of Varun is 500. Varun Bhavimani. Varun once. Varun twice. And Varun is unsold. So let's go back to our next player. Kishore M. Gowda. Kishore M. Gowda. The base price of Kishore M. Gowda is 500. Kishore M. Gowda. The base price is 500. So nobody is raising their bar.
ಏನ್ ಆಟ ಆಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕರ್ಸಿರೋದ್ ಹುಡುಗರನ್ನ
Kishore M. Gowda. Base price 500. Once.
ಇಟ್ಕೊಡು ಮುಗ್ದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು
So Kishore M. Gowda is
ನಾನೇದು
unsold. The next player is
ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಹುಡುಗರು
The next player is Jnanesh and his base price is 2000. Jnanesh 2000 for Marshall Kings, 2500 for the White Lions, 3000 for the Goats, 4000 for the Marshall Kings, 5000 for the Goats, 6000 for Marshall Kings, 7000 for the White Lions, 8000 for the Marshall Kings, 8000 for the Marshall Kings once.
ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡು ಒಂದು 10 ಜನ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಮಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಆಗಿದಾರಪ್ಪ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ
So there is a little disruption between.
ಅದೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ ಈ ಸೆಷನ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಎತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಕಣ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದಾಗಲ್ವಾ
ಬೇಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರಪ್ಪ
So Jnanesh M comes back to 2000 for his base price, 2000 for the Bulls and 2500 for the Marshall Kings, 2500 once, 2500 twice, 2500 twice. Jnanesh is sold to the Marshall Kings. So the next player is C.S. Dikshit Gowda. C.S. Dikshit Gowda, his base price is 500. He's a bowler. So Dikshit, C.S. Dikshit Gowda is unsold. So we'll call up the next player, who is Manish Shetty. Base price 500. Money Shetty is again unsold. The next player is Dhruva K. Dhruva K 500 for Power Bulls. Dhruva K. His base price is 1000. 1000 for the Power Bulls. 1000 once, 1000 twice, and 1000 thrice. Dhruva K is sold to the Power Bulls. So the last remaining 4 players, unsold players. These are the unsold players. I'm going to call. The first player is Manish Shetty. His base price is 500. Manish Shetty 500 for the Marshall Kings. 500 once, 1000 for the Goods. 1500 for the Marshall Kings. 1500 for the Marshall Kings once. 1,500, 2,000 for the white lines. 2,000 for the white lines once, 2,500 for the Marshall Kings. 3,000 for the white lines. 3,000 for the white lines once, 4,000 for the Marshall Kings. 5,000 for the white lines. 5,000 once, 5,000 twice, and Manish Shetty is sold to the white lines. So the next player is CS Dikshit Gowda. His base value is Dikshit Gowda 500. He is a bowler. Okay, the power bulls have raised their bars for Dikshit Gowda. 500. 500 once, 500 twice, and 500 thrice. Dikshit Gowda is sold for the power bulls. So the next player is Kishore M. Gowda. The base value of this player is 500. Kishore M. Gowda. Yeah, two players. That's two players. Kishore M. Gowda. Base value is at 500 for Marshall Kings. 500 once, 500 twice, and 500 thrice. It is sold for the Marshall Kings. So the last player who is sold to the Boots is Varun Bhavimani, sold for 500 points. So here the player list has concluded. So the SPL auction have come to a conclusion. So I guess all of you have enjoyed the program. So I will announce the sponsors who have sponsored the great SandHut Premier League. So firstly, I would like to thank our prime sponsor of our Primax and Priya, who manufactures premium innerwear, which offers quality, luxury, and comfort. So next I would like to thank HB Play and Boards. They manufacture plywood. They provide a better quality of woods for your home wood furnishing. So next I would like to thank SLN Developers, SAN Associates, and Best Buy. These were our sponsors who helped us to conduct this league. So I would like to thank all the sponsors for your all cooperations. Thank you.
ಏನ್ ಸರ್